I know many robots are also recording and note taking for us today. So hopefully we're all squared away. Um, Great. And screen share agenda. Okay. So here is our agenda for this morning, slash early afternoon. So we will do our call to order and then our introductions. We'll just go around our Zoom boxes the way we always do. We do have minutes. Thank you so much, Jeff, from September and October. So if we have a quorum of members, we'll go ahead and approve those minutes. And then I have a little bit of time for new issues of concern, updates from PUSD, and then I left some particular time if we have an update in terms of our process and training on our surrogate ERH system. And then I would love to hear from our STRTP representatives a little bit more information about the youth that you all are serving, so that those of us who are joining this project as surrogates have a sense of who the kids are that we might be acting as surrogate ed rights holders for. And then we'll do announcements and public comment to close it out. So I will go ahead and call this meeting to order, and we'll start with introductions. So let me exit our screen share, and I will go around our boxes. So I am Lily Bartenstein. I'm the co-chair of this committee, and I am a former foster parent and adoptive parent of former foster youth. And my son is a 12th grader at PHS. Jeff.
Hi, everybody. Jeff Albert with Collaborate Pasadena, and I am the secretary. So here to take notes and participate when I can.
Thanks, Jeff. Manisha.
Hi, I'm a parent of a child with multiple disabilities, and I am hoping to become an education rights holder and wanting to learn more.
Great. Thank you so much for being here. Brenda.
Hi, I'm Brenda Lynch with Coffee with a Cause, and we have an internship program for foster youth.
Thanks, Brenda. Brian Stanley.
Hi, good morning. I'm Brian Stanley. I work at Child Welfare and Attendance and foster youth and care as well. Good morning.
Thank you. Eric Trejo.
Good morning, Eric Trejo, Special Education Coordinator.
Thank you, Eric. Vanessa.
Vanessa Perez, 5 Acres. I am one of the educational liaisons with the STRTP.
Thanks for being here, Vanessa. Scott Harden.
Hi, everyone. I'm Scott Harden. I'm a PSD parent at Marshall, outgoing LCAP PAC member, PTA Council of PSD Communications Chair, and the incoming Board of Education member for District 4.
Hi, Scott. Thank you for being here.
Yep.
Taz.
Hi, good morning. I am Taz Taylor, the Assistant Director over Sycamores, our STRT program, and I'm also a foster parent.
Thank you so much for being here, Taz. Judy McKinley.
Hi, I'm a retired para-educator, instructional assistant from Pasadena, and my interest is special education and the needs of our foster kids. And I want to say thank you to 5 Acres and Sycamores for being here.
Thank you, Judy. Cynthia?
Hey everyone, Cynthia from CAP. Happy to be here and good to see you all again.
Francesca?
Hi everyone, I'm Francesca Ocasio. My pronouns are they, she, and I'm the Foster Youth Programs Manager at Planned Parenthood Pasadena, San Gabriel Valley.
Thanks for being here. Lily Olan.
I'm sorry, Lily Owen, Futuro Infantil Hispano Foster Family Agency.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Jennifer Hawley.
Hello, I am the Vice President for the PUSD School Board and happy to be here. Thank you.
Thanks. Letty?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Letty Hernandez, and I'm with Foothill Family, and I'm a caseworker for the program RSS. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And then Adria. I think everything else is a robot.
I'm sorry, it took me a long time to unmute. Hi, I'm Adria with the Community Advisory Committee, and this is my first foster youth meeting. Thank you, Lily.
Thanks for being here. Awesome. So let's see. I think we have a quorum. Is that right, Jeff? Can you double check for me? I think we do. Yeah, great. So let's look at our meeting minutes from September and October, and then we can approve them as a sweep. I will drop these also into the chat if folks have not read them. Chat. So that should be September, and then this is our October meeting.
Hey, Lily, can I ask? I didn't catch the first part of that conversation, but you said that I was notified the agenda was posted and on the website. Was that not the case?
So Judy was wondering if it had gone out on the email list for notice. I saw it on the website, but there's an email list that the superintendent's office emails public notice to, and I don't know, I'm not on that list. It's kind of a secret list. There's no like way to sign up for it. You just have to know that there is a list and then ask someone in the superintendent's office to add you to the list.
All right, yeah,
but that is our official posting notice machine, as I understand it.
Okay, all right.
So, yes, Judy?
I looked at that list before I came on because usually the agenda is on there, and it does not appear that it's there. Now, I may have missed something, but I don't think it was.
Scott said he did receive it on that list, so
yeah, I got
maybe
it.
it just got lost.
Yeah.
Thank you, Scott.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so that's good. We are at least allowed to have a meeting with business, because it was officially posted, which is the major concern. So that's great. Let's go ahead and let me pull up and review our minutes from September, and then October. So in September, we had we had elections, and so we had new officers in September, which was fantastic. We talked through some information about our enrollment process and previous surrogate ed rights holder process, and then got a general update on the systems and supports for our kids. And then I talked a little bit about FASD awareness, and you'll see in these beautiful minutes that Jeff has made, there are little buttons that are because there is the video and it is all linked together. Yay. And then our October meeting, we had our guest, Dr. Blanco, and Mr. Bravo Karimi to talk about the 100-day plan update and then the bond and parcel tax. We talked a little bit about our additional partners, and our topic for last month was around school discipline. And so we talked a little bit about the requirements of AB 740. And then I threw in some additional legislative updates. So those are the two sets of minutes that we have for approval. Does anybody have any questions or issues, or would someone like to move approval of those minutes?
Suspense is killing us.
I know, right? someone move approval? I will move approval. Do I have a second?
Good.
Anybody? You, my friend? Let's have minutes.
This is just moving them along, right, Lily?
Yeah, just to approve them so we
Yeah.
can move them to a vote. So I
Go
just need
for
a
it.
second. Yeah. And then all in favor of approving our minutes from September and October. And I'm gonna raise my hand. Yay. Great. Awesome. Great. Are we good, Jeff?
We are good.
Thank you. Okay, awesome. Cool. So that is approval of our September and October minutes. Do we have any new issues of concern this month for our caregivers or advocates? Other than all the things already on our agenda. Okay. Let's move then to our updates from PUSD. Do you have any general updates, Mr. Stanley?
Yeah, so, well, first of all, today I just want to announce today is the last day for sibling priority dates for open enrollment. So usually that is the first step in the open enrollment process is sibling priorities. So that opened on I think so. I can't remember the date in October, but recently October. Then November 12th is the last day for that application. That application is on the website for the enrollment website. So just a quick reminder that today's the last day for that sibling priority. So I do want to talk a minute
I have
about
a question about that, Brian. Do foster youth who are entering the district have access to that kind of priority, even if they're entering outside of the window? Like if they're entering a family that has a student already out of school, are they able to then request?
So yeah, absolutely, yeah, that's honored. So absolutely, and that goes through our team here. We do everything we can to make sure that that's honored to the best of our ability. Sometimes it's not always. Sometimes space is an issue, right? So, you know, when we run up against when a school just does not have space, that does complicate things. But as much as possible, we do accommodate that to the best of our ability, for sure.
Great. Yeah, that was my only question, because it is most of our foster youth are not going to be entering through open enrollment because they're going to be entering in the middle of a school year.
Right.
Yeah.
But I do want to talk a minute about kind of what's been going on with the budget advisory committee in PUSD right now.
Okay.
So, you know, over the last couple months, there's been the superintendent's budget advisory committee really looking at, you know, it's mostly focused on the district office, central office here, looking at various departments and kind of prioritizing those, I guess, the priorities in each department in terms of funding for next year. That we know in the years ahead, that, you know, all the departments here in PUSD, as well as, you know, holistically the entire district, right? We're really going to have to do more with less in the coming years, right? So I think, you know, the first step in that is really kind of looking at our central office here and kind of prioritizing how we'll be utilizing funding in the years ahead, knowing that we have, you know, projected shortfalls in the future that need to be addressed now. So what we just went through with the superintendent's budget advisory committee was each department coming up with various packages, right? So if, let's say, child welfare and attendance here was funded at 60% next year, we came up with a package for that. Also, if we were budgeted at 70%, we came up with a package for that, and 80% and so on. The committee then looked at each department's overall packages and rated those, which is the next step is going to the school board for further analysis, and then you know, to be voted on by the school board in terms of what that actually looks like for next year and the years to come. And I don't know if I'm saying all this right. I'm just saying this from my perspective here. But I just want to drive the point home that, you know, in each of those packages, the foster youth team here was prioritized, pretty much over a lot of other things. I'll just say it that way. And so whether or not we're funded at 60, 70, 80%, 90%, like we did ensure that the current services for foster youth now do, to the best of our ability, stay in place for years to come. We did look at reducing other things outside of the foster youth services here, but not so much the foster youth. We really tried our best to keep that intact no matter what package we're looking at. So I just wanted to say that. And that doesn't mean that anything's certain or anything like that, but just to know that, the foster youth services and the foster youth team here is definitely prioritized. I just want to say that. And, hopefully we'll hope for the best outcome from there, but it is, it's a little concerning for sure. And I know there's uneasiness every time budget cuts come up. So I just wanted to put that out there now, that, our foster youth services and team were definitely prioritized, no matter which way we looked at the packages. So
that's great to hear. Thank you. And I know that we will also, in our LCAP pack, we'll also want to make sure that those services are a priority there, as well, as that is one of the categories of the LCAP that has to have some sort of a target. So I think that that's good to know that that's also in your packages, that priority is there as well.
And so last thing, I just wanted to say that we, thank you for everyone that have volunteered to act as a surrogate parent at those times that those needs come up. And thank you for all who attended the training last month with the Alliance for Children's Rights. And we'll definitely be scheduling more caregiver trainings as this year goes on. I know we've been in touch with Lily and Laco in terms of bringing in some experts that would kind of present to this group here in some meetings ahead. So looking forward to that. We are still, I see most volunteer clearances have gone through. I think we're still waiting on a couple. But we're kind of still in that process of clearing everybody now, and then we'll be scheduling more trainings ahead. And we'll just kind of reach out to each of those that have volunteered in that area, just to kind of bring back everyone together, just discuss a little bit more about what this looks like, what that'll entail. But really, now that we're cleared and ready to volunteer, like we thank you for that, and we'll definitely be reaching out as those times come up as well, which is already occurred a couple times this year. So
great. Awesome. Thank you.
That's all I had.
Awesome. Cool. Are there any updates from special education? Eric?
Yes, we do. So we have a new coordinator that's overseeing our private school programs. We also finished a 6-hour training for most of our instructional aides on Friday, and that was quite a success. We are working with all schools in order for us to complete and affirm most of the IEPs right before the deadline for the first semester, which is the second week of December. So we are working on that now. Other than that, there's really no other updates.
And is that the new coordinator who also is our sort of surrogate parent lead? I'm trying to remember the org chart that we had last month.
Let me check on that.
Okay.
Might be some changes there.
Okay.
I think what I saw from the chart was actually, who was it that just started last week, Eric? It was it
was the one that we didn't have contact info for last month because we were waiting for their hiring process.
Philippa, right?
Yeah, Philippa is her first name.
So I think she has surrogates under her responsibilities. And then Joe Cortez oversees the secondary, correct?
Correct. And then Allison Walker oversees the elementaries.
But you oversee
the non-public schools, correct?
And then there's one more thing under here. I kept trying to remember what that was.
Transportation.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
Transportation.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if
do you guys have
what's that?
Do you guys want me to send you the new chart?
If it has changed since last month, that would be great.
I'll send it in case.
That would be awesome. And then the other, because it would have been, I think I put it in our SMORE The other piece we were waiting for was for Philippa an email address and contact information because she had not yet been hired. So if I could get that from you too, that would be fantastic.
I'll work on it right now.
Okay, thank you.
Can I ask Eric very quickly what type of training the SPED department gave or was what teachers were receiving on Friday?
So they did CPI, crisis prevention intervention, was one session, and then collaborative working with teachers was another one. So it was two sessions, the one before lunch and one right after lunch.
And that was AIDS,
All aides.
including those who are not our, like the ones
Agency?
who are contracted and the ones who are PUSD staff, or
No, it was only PUSD.
got it. Okay.
PUSD aides, some service providers, and security guards.
Okay.
Sorry, I might be a little dense, but what does a collaborative training entail?
So it's a training on how to work, how to work with the teachers in the classroom rather than being in the back, kind of like a shadow. So what the expectations are as an instructional aide and as a behavioral aide. So we just went over what they should already know. So just a quick review of what their duties, their assignments, the time you come in, how you check out how you check in when you come to work and how you check out. We also went over how to record absences because some of our aides, we noticed that they just out, but they don't call in.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Eric, would we be able to go over that a little bit in terms of what that looks like with STRTPs and how we get notified when the aides are out?
So there's something that's going to go, we're going to implement something digital for all of our instructional aides and service providers. As of today, we have paper, pencil signing in and out. But I think IT is working with our department to implement something digital where they just as soon as they come in, they scan something and it records their time in. So that should be done by early December.
My question is, how do the STRTPs know when the aides are out? So one of the issues that we're running through is that the aides don't show. And what that means is that student is missing school because some of the non-publics do not allow the students at school without their aide. And I have been sending emails to the special ed department and I do not get the responses. And the solution should not be the children missing school. So that's why I'm asking.
Right. So the process is that either the office manager or the registrar that's in charge of every high school should report that to our department, and then our clerk here, which is Crystal, and then Bridget, are responsible for reaching out to either the STRTP or the group home to tell them that the aide is out. And in the meantime, we are looking at either agencies or substitute aides so we can send someone to cover for that aide. But as you know, some of our aides, we are hiring as we speak. We don't have enough applicants applying for these positions. Even with our agencies, it's really hard to get someone.
Manisha, did you have a question?
Yes, I wanted to know who's training the non-public agency aides?
Their agency is actually responsible for training them.
Thank you.
Judy?
Having been an instructional assistant, I believe, for 28 years, I had many experiences with foster kids and aides being out and all that, and it can be a catastrophe for the teacher who is trying to teach the class and for the kids when they don't have the supervision that they need from their one-on-ones. And I understand the problems with getting instructional assistants in the classroom. I think the district needs to look at, and it was actually suggested by a union member from up north at one point, to have several para-educators that are permanent employees who can be the substitute aides. And that worked, and I can't remember the name of the district, it's been a long time ago. But permanent employees that are instructional assistants, that when somebody is out, they can be there for that class. Thank you.
Thanks, Judy.
Sorry, for some reason my hand is not going up, but I just wanted to just circle back on what Vanessa said, because I don't think maybe I didn't hear any clarity from Eric in reference to what is the follow-up, because oftentimes, now I'm just going to be very honest, I send several emails and I don't get a response. So for me to then be informed that I can go and email this person or call this person, if I'm still not getting a response, that means that my issue is not being assisted or dealt with. So from Eric, is there an org chart that you have if you're not available or someone's not available that we can call for assistance? And two, if a behavioral aid is not present, does the child then receive any type of makeup work, or how are they being compensated for their education when it's no fault of their own that there's not an aid available in the classroom?
So when an aid is out, I mean, at least in the non-public schools, some of our non-public schools do not allow that student to come in. We have to figure out exactly how we compensate those students. It could be either during ESY for extra time after after those specific sessions, but it's an ongoing work with each specific non-public school, because each non-public school works a little different. Some will compensate during the year. Other ones will not. They'll wait till ESY and see if there is either someone that can provide those compensation hours, or they can work with an after-school tutor to provide those extra hours that the child missed during the school year.
So when this is finalized, is there any memo that we're going to have? Because it still sounds like it's up in the air, and I don't really have clarity on what's going to happen when the behavioral aides are not there. When they're not there, obviously they're either marked absence and they're not getting their education, which is their right to get an education. So I think that there definitely has to be a plan solidified so these kids are not missing school. And then the second thing is, when time permits, I believe you do have my email. If someone can give me an org chart of who I can follow up with if my emails are not being answered, because every day that an email is not being answered, they're missing their education. So I don't know who would have an org chart, but that would be helpful, so I can kind of follow up if there's a lapse in communication.
So I just shared I don't know if you guys see it, my phone number
in the chat.
You can call me directly on my cell phone if there's an issue.
Great, thank you.
Taz, who's the communication? Where's the communication going right now when there's that issue comes up?
When there's an aid out?
Honestly, I'm emailing Eric when we have issues and I don't get a response. So I was just trying to figure out who I can talk to, because we've had some issues where kids were delayed for enrollment because there was a lack of response. So I just want to make sure when I'm speaking to their child's attorney that I can direct them to the right point person, so they're not missing their education.
Yeah, you can call me directly.
I'm emailing the same, Brian, as well as Crystal, adding a few other people within the district. I've had issues last week, and my kids right now all have aides, and it gets a little tricky.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something we need to understand from the non-public schools, is that aides are not responsible for the child's education. They're there to support the student. And for some reason, when the aide is out, these non-public schools trying to push them out, they don't allow them to come to school. We have to understand that the responsibility of the education is from the teacher and not from an instructional aide. They should have some supports embedded within the classroom if a person is out, just like we have it in every other school and every other classroom.
That's correct. I don't disagree with that, but I guess my concern is the aides are not showing. And when I have a bus that comes at 6:45 in the morning and we're getting a child up at 6, it's very unfortunate when that communication is not being relayed down, as we're having to get this child up super early, and which only causes frustration in that kid at that time. And then, I'm getting the phone calls. I'm trying to get these emails out, trying to figure out, because my Almanzar aides, I directly deal with the agency and I call them directly and they get me a substitute immediately. It is my Joan Macy aides that I don't have that kind of access to. And when I have to go through the district, I'm not getting a response on whether a substitute can be provided. So such as my issue last week, I could have gotten the student to school if there was a substitute available. And if there was or wasn't, I didn't know either way because it wasn't communicated.
No, I understand, but sometimes these non-public schools don't tell us that the aide is going to be out. So they have my personal cell. They have Crystal's cell phone number. They should be calling us directly so we can address the issue early in the morning.
But aren't these
Sometimes
district aides?
they should be calling in.
So that's what I'm saying. It's not really the non-publics. They don't even know themselves. So I guess this is just that protocol of how the aides are calling out.
They should they know how to log in, and that's something we discussed at the last training on Friday. How to log in and how to call out and how to request a substitute. It usually comes to our department, which is Crystal, and she jumps on it right away. But again, it's sometimes at 7:30 in the morning or 7 in the morning or 6:30 in the morning, it's somewhat difficult to get a substitute right away.
So I think I'll just say, Vanessa and Taz, thank you for responding. I did ask for us to meet along with the Alliance for Children's Rights just to work through some of these issues coming up, and I appreciate bringing this up today. We'll definitely revisit this. I think I know Vanessa, you responded about the 21st. Taz, maybe you can respond and let me know if the 21st works as well. But I think we'll definitely plan on coming together and addressing these kind of issues right off the bat. So thank you for bringing that up.
Great. Okay, I think we can move. I don't know if there are any other special education updates, but let's see. Do we have someone from CYFC with us this morning? I don't see somebody, but I'm not sure. And then if not, Brian, do you have any updates about CYFC or LACO supports for this month at our school sites?
Not that I can think of right now, honestly. So, we have been meeting with CYFC specifically, and just connecting our team with CYFC to really ensure that we're discussing kids at each site and to the best of our ability, make sure that we're not having students fall through the cracks because we're not communicating in an organization. So, we are meeting with frequently and to the best of our ability, making sure that we're aware of who our students are at each site, that we're communicating when new students are coming in. Mm-hmm. So that way when we receive a new student through our office, that CYFC is notified and starts working with a student on that. And so, we really increased our communication to make sure that we're, so that's all I can say right now.
I do know, my understanding, I spoke with Emma between meetings about my kid. My understanding is that their grant is more expansive this year, so they are able to continue serving kids even after their case is closed, as is the case for my kiddo. So I think that is also encouraging, as if they have capacity, that they would be able to continue providing support.
Right. So yeah, right now it's just Emma. Hopefully we can bring in another caseworker as well, but definitely Emma's wonderful, honestly, and very happy that they're for open and closed cases, they're providing services.
Great. Cool. Thank you. We've already touched on our surrogate situation, like where we are in that process. I don't know if anyone had questions. I know that I've completed all of that paperwork and gotten a little badge. And that Brian and his team are working on the list of folks. And then I don't know, Brian, if you have an update on if there is additional training we need to receive before you can assign us, or what the assignment process will be in response to those needs as they come up in the future.
Well, I think, we to be honest, like some of the needs that's come up this year has not involved special education, right? So it's been for general ed students. I think we need to wrap back around to that and talk about what it looks like for a gen ed student and a little bit more training around that.
Okay.
We really haven't worked out a process. Yeah. We haven't really worked out a process yet for assigning anybody. So I think, Lily, I'd like for us to sit down and look at that and see what works best. I appreciate any input around that as well. But I think for the near future, like I said, once we get the volunteer clearances done, we'll wrap back around and just kind of touching base again and scheduling and training around, on the gen ed side and going from there.
Great. Yeah, I know I also, I didn't hear back from that email from Craig at CLC at the Children's Law Center, but I think that they may be a useful partner in that training. Just in terms of how child welfare interfaces with education and what supports they have as well, so that we all know when to call the attorney, which is whenever we want. So they have a lot of information and also resources that they can provide. Great. Cool. I'm going to move to our next item on our agenda, which is just to get a little bit more information from our STRTP liaisons about I'm sorry, Judy, did you have a question?
I just wanted to say, I thought I did the surrogate training, and I thought the lady that did the presentation did a very excellent job.
Yep, it was really valuable.
It needs a whole lot more, but it certainly was a good start.
Yes, thanks, Judy. Yeah, we had a good session. So Vanessa, can you tell us a little bit about the students that 5 Acres serves, the kids who are in our district, and also the sort of breadth of students and kids that you guys have at 5 Acres?
Sure. I guess my question would be, Lily, is specifically what? Are we talking behaviors, why they're with us? Or...
I think grade spans, and just to give us a sense of who. I know that you all serve younger kids.
I got the littles. We're the only STRTP really that has the little ones. So I do house as little as 6. We don't get them that little anymore.
Okay.
Last year we did get a wave of a bunch of littles, and I have a couple of 9-year-olds now, like 8, 9s.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't get them too little anymore, as the process to get them into an STRTP that little is a lot more extensive. But I do have them as little as 6 should they need a placement.
You have the capacity for.
Yes. And the oldest is 15. I do have a 6-bed group home that houses until they're 18, but I only house boys there.
Okay.
I have girls on our main campus, but I don't have girls at our group home.
Okay. And so those are high schoolers, mostly the boys I'm just trying to understand.
For the most part, depending on our oldest, so it all depends on licensing.
Okay.
So for the most part, all of my kids at the group home are in high school, but I have had some middle schoolers depending on the age of my oldest kid there.
Okay.
So I could have someone a little bit younger if my oldest isn't too old. Right now, I only am housing 4 of 6. I only have 4 beds filled there.
Okay. And then how many kids are on the main campus?
I am licensed to have 16 on each site. So 16 at our main site and 16 at our Colby site, which is 2 doors down. I only have 15 on my main site, and I have 4 on my other site.
Okay. And then can you just tell us a little bit about how kids end up in an STRTP placement so that we
Yes.
understand sort of who we're supporting?
Sure. So all of our kids are going to be wards of the court, which means that they have been fully detained from their parents. By the time they make it to an STRTP, it is mainly because they have had multiple failed placements in foster homes. So if they are in an STRTP, there are a lot of behavioral concerns, as well as, and these behaviors are eloping, aggression, property destruction. And so if they've made it to us, there's been a lot of trauma that has happened in their lifespan.
It's
Failed
kind of hard to
placements.
imagine a 6-year-old that would need that level of support.
Yep. So there's a lot that's happening by the time they make it to us.
And do most of your kids have IEPs, or are they general education students?
I would say 80% of them come with an IEP, and
Okay.
my gen ed kids usually are in desperate need of an IEP.
They need assessment for an IEP.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And either they've started assessments and they weren't at a placement long enough to finish it, and they may have been bouncing around. And if I'm 2 months out of that last signature, I have to restart the process.
Restart it over. Yeah.
And so it's always some type of barrier. Their ERHs, getting a hold of the ed rights holders, can be a barrier in order to get the ball rolling. I have a couple of gen ed kids right now that are thriving, and I'm so excited because it is very, I don't get that often. So it's really nice to get the general ed kids that go in and they start kicking butt and kind of,
Well, and that's always, I think, a big part of the challenge, right, is that there are a lot of resources academically for the kids who are ready to ask for that help or accept that help. And it's a lot harder for the ones who are really just struggling to be a person all day. So figuring out how to support those kids to the place where they are able to engage in academic work is a huge hurdle.
For sure.
Yeah. Judy, did you have a question?
No, I would like to say that is exactly the reason the triage program is essential, imperative, that these kids that get looked at before they go to a classroom. I have had kids in classrooms that have such difficult behaviors, and they're put in that classroom without any real support for the teacher. We never had all the support that we needed. And so the triage program is essential in getting these kids to the right place in the first place. They do not deserve to be changed around. They need a stable situation.
Thanks, Judy. Any other questions about 5 acres? Thank you, Vanessa. Taz, can you tell us a little bit about the kids that you're serving at Sycamores?
Similar to Vanessa's, the only difference is that we tend to cater to the older population. So we have a lot of adolescents. So our age limit starts from 12 all the way to 18. We do serve non-minor dependents as well. So as long as they're in school or they're working, we will serve them up until probably 19, because we try not to have 12-year-olds around the 19-year-olds for many different reasons. Our kids are funded or come to us from probation or DCFS. Sometimes we do have voluntary placements. And just like Vanessa said, they come to us because they have had multiple fair placements. However, we have had some kids that unfortunately have not been placed, but because of their have not been previously placed elsewhere, but because of their behaviors being unsafe to themselves or others, they come straight to STRTP. So we deal with kids with autism on the spectrum, bipolar, schizophrenia, conduct disorder, you name it. There's a mixed cocktail of mental health challenges that they come with. So many kids have been placed from one place to another. So they come here not trusting initially, testing the waters. A lot of them, unfortunately, have been out of school for over a year. So it's really been some type of challenge in even getting them enrolled, especially when they don't have the proper paperwork, transcripts, and all of that. Some of them have been to several different schools all over this district. So trying to obtain a lot of their educational documents have also been barriers to their educational success, but we tend to manage that. So yeah, we also have some kids that have family, for whatever reason, the family is not able to, adequately serve them. So we still try to keep those family connections because ideally these kids are not to be raised in a foster care system or STRTP. So we try to nurture any type of natural supports that they have. And we keep them involved as well. A lot of them still hold educational rights just because they don't have parental rights. They still hold educational rights. So we allow them to, take the driver's seat in that education, and we try to, collaborate with them as much as possible. A lot of them, unfortunately, when I say them, I mean the parents, they're not really informed about their educational rights and how to maneuver through the system. So sometimes they're lost, and sometimes they make the wrong decisions for their kids. And so we really try to work with them, sometimes the surrogates, the CASA workers, as well as the district, to make sure that these parents understand what they're signing. They understand what all these AB 12s,
implications of all
everything, because they
laws.
don't know. So we don't only assist, we try to educate as well. So that's a lot of what we do here at Sycamores.
Great. And I think that that's something which hopefully the surrogates that we are recruiting can also support and help with. I know that one of the big things that I did when my kid came to me was track down all of his educational records, and it was a journey, but I learned a lot. And helping maintain that file can be a really valuable piece of the puzzle, because all of this happens where the challenge can really only be addressed by someone with some time and some patience. And there's never enough staff to do all of those pieces. So I think that that'll be a great resource that our volunteers can provide to help as well. Great.
We do have a component, though, that I think is very unique to our program, is that we do have a mobile crisis team. And oftentimes that does assist with a lot of the behaviors that the kids display in the classroom. So, just like working parents, sometimes we can't always be readily available anytime a crisis arises. So our mobile crisis will go to the schools, they'll do check-ins, they'll respond to crisis. Sometimes the kids will still remain in the classroom after mobile crisis has gone out and assess the situation. It's oftentimes where they're being sent home because of their behaviors. I think what is good with some districts, not all, is that, they do welcome TBS workers to kind of assist in some of these classroom settings that can help with the behavior. So that has been a great liaison, because we're able to hear about the behaviors that is happening in school, as well as what's happening at home. So that is helpful. And then again, there's just constant communication with counselors around the kids' behavior. So that's what we do here at Sycamores.
How many kids do you all serve or have space for?
Our population is 16. So under each license, your max is now 16. It used to be whatever the program states on their program statements, but right now we're 16. But we are developing a new program that's set to launch in 2026. Where we'll be housing more youth.
Great. And I don't know, I know that we talked last time, and I'm not sure how it impacts STRTPs, but the FFA insurance crisis, does that insurance impact what you are able to support? Yes.
So we're coming along, at least for 5 acres. I'm sorry, my camera was off. I have to scarf lunch down before the next one. we're at the point of, if we didn't get this insurance, we have to dissolve the FFA.
Mhm.
And so without this, and so we've been rallying around it. We've been going to conference after conference, doing whatever we need to do. I know as of last week, we were very close. There was two insurance agencies that were hopefully going to give us something we can work with. And so it sounded very hopeful, but we're on the verge very closely to dissolve the FFA.
And how many foster families does 5 Acres license? Do you have a sense?
I don't
of
know.
that? Okay. Yeah.
That I don't know. They're out of our West Covina office, so I
Okay.
don't have too much contact with them. But I don't know exactly how many families we service.
Thanks. Yeah, I know it's a huge challenge. I mean, and especially with the restriction now on the number of beds that a group home or a STRTP can support, you just don't have placement then if we don't have those foster family homes available as well. And for the kids that are trying to exit an STRTP, sometimes an FFA can provide that additional wraparound support that the county is not able to support. So it's a real problem that we're gonna come up. I mean, we're already in the crisis, and it's only going to be worse with that dissolution of access. So, call your representatives when you recover from the election. Judy?
Yeah, my friend works as a compensatory education teacher that goes out to houses. What we have been finding is that families that are not very sophisticated are being taken advantage by the attorneys. The attorneys will do the cases and then just drop the family with none of the necessary information, and they don't understand. I think somebody said that. They don't understand what they need to do, and that's a reason that it's imperative that PUSD is providing good information to them along the way and assisting them, not fighting them, but assisting them, because we've seen tragedy after tragedy. Thank you.
Thanks, Judy. Brian?
Sorry if this is dead. I lost my sound for a little bit, but finally got it back. But so we have seen, some cases recently with unaccompanied minors.
Okay.
And so these students don't fall under foster youth. Okay. So sometimes they're placed at agencies in the area by immigration attorneys. And they don't have social workers and, what we typically find with foster youth. So it's been a little bit of a challenge. But there's been times that have come up where we need to make decisions with some of these students in this situation, and we don't have an ed rights holder or a social worker or many of the things that we would often find with their foster youth, but still that need is there. So those times will come up as well, which I'm very thankful to have this, volunteers that can help in that situation as well.
Yeah, are there relationships with agencies that support those youth, or do you have a sense of who are the grown-ups in the room?
So we brought this up with LACO, with their contacts at LACO, and kind of working on a plan to address that. But right now there are organizations that help in this situation that we can reach out to for support. And the laws, it's a little confusing because when we read the guidelines, like, these students do not fall under foster youth, but then they have access to the services. So we're trying to navigate that part, which has been a little confusing, but our partners at LACO are helping us address that, and hopefully we'll have answers.
Do they fall under McKinney-Vento in some way? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it falls under exactly McKinney-Vento, but again, we don't find the traditional resources in place that we do with our foster youth, so it's been a little tricky to navigate. But just wanted to say that there are those situations that come up where we'll definitely reach out for Ed Wright's surrogate at those points as well
Okay.
for students in this situation.
And Brian, I just want to piggyback off what you said because you're absolutely correct. We had our first ORR youth placed with us, and it was definitely a challenge trying to navigate through the educational system because he had no representative, right? So we were all learning the process. We had assistance from Brian, Sally Iverson, and some other people at Evelyn at Lego that kind of helped us, maneuver through it. The kid, believe it or not, we thought that it was going to take him forever to get enrolled. But because of the resource and teamwork makes the dream work, we were able to get this particular youth enrolled within 3 weeks. And then the placement agency served as a surrogate and was able to kind of make some educational decisions on his behalf. So we're still trying to figure out the ropes. We're working on having our second ORR kids. So it is definitely going to be a learning process. But I just wanted to definitely shout out the team of those that were in the midst of getting this particular youth enrolled because it definitely helped knock down some barriers.
Yeah, I think it would be great for us as this situation arises more and as we uncover those resources, I think it would be great for us to put together some of the things that we learned so that we can share those with other community members who might be interested in supporting as well.
I'll make sure I note the second one so I can
Thank
present
you.
next time. Yeah.
Great. No, that's great information for us to have as well. And then who else, Brian, do we have students? What are the other STRTPs in our area? I know Bourne is one. And I don't know if anyone can give us an overview of who they serve, what kinds of students they serve.
Yes, I don't have that knowledge for Bourne right now. We have a couple students from Bourne right now. And that's really the 3 STRPTs that we mainly interact with in PUSD.
Okay. I feel like they're also older kids, but I don't know much more than that about that group. Cool. Okay. So let me see where we are in terms of our agenda. I'll just reshare it quickly. So we have done all of these things and now we are at announcements about 15 minutes early. So I don't know if any of our partners on the call have things coming up that they'd like to share.
No, but I do have I have a short step at 12. I have another IEP that I have to attend. So I'll see you guys to the next meeting.
Thank you, Eric.
All right, thank you guys.
Okay. Yeah, Scott.
I just wanted to drop the hint that save the date December 2nd, Monday. Penn will be partnering with PUSD. We have a name for the event, Measuring Success, Making Sense of Education Data. So it's an opportunity for folks that want to advocate for school success and district success, but don't know where to start. And so data is a great way into that conversation. And so we'll demystify it a little bit and I'll be helping with that event. So December 2nd.
It's a Zoomy event?
Likely a Zoomy. And we want to make it easy for folks to attend. And so we'll send out more information on how to get connected and all that. So stay tuned.
Cool. I'll add that to our s'more if we get it by the time I get around to sending a s'more. This time I did not send a follow-up s'more, but next time maybe I will because we don't have another meeting until January.
Yeah.
Cool. Manisha.
Yes, this question might be more for Brian, but while we're waiting to get assignments, is there maybe a toolkit or some level of, I know some acronyms were thrown out. I know ORR, I have no clue what she's talking about, or FFA. And so as, I don't know, just to become a better advocate to know some of the language used as it relates to foster youth. Do we have anything like that?
I have lots of things.
You need a foster youth briefing book.
I mean, so the other thing that I worked with Angela on recently was to update our pages on the PUSD Youth and Foster Care website. So some of those resources are there. Let me see if I can find that link quickly.
But I would just jump in and say ORR stands for the Office of Refugees Resettlement.
Because
And
that's
then
not a standard
FBA
foster care agency
No, sorry,
anyway.
I'm so used to using acronyms. So they're unaccompanied minors that come from across the border, however means necessary, and then unfortunately they're detained, either through ISIS or whomever. And so they're just trying to place these kids or seek sponsors for them to service them while they either have them deported back voluntarily or involuntarily back to their home of origin. So it's fairly new, believe it or not.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
But yes, I can also share. Let me put together some things that I can share with our potential surrogates to help sort of with breadth of understanding, because I mean I know I did like 50 hours of training at one point, so my brain is full of acronyms. Judy.
Yes, I wonder if this group, if it would be beneficial to have somebody come and talk from CASA.
I can look into it and see.
And do a presentation on what CASA is about, because unless you're in this world, you don't really understand what they do.
Sure. Yep, I can look into that. I also do have I've been playing a matching game with the rest of our upcoming topics with our LACO team to help get some of those sort of breadth of understanding around foster care trainings included in our foster youth council meetings too. So I think that can be helpful as well. I know that we'll have them come at some point and just talk about the laws, the education laws and other laws that impact our kids in foster care, as well as some of the other sort of caregiver facing trainings that they have. So that is also on our upcoming agenda. Any other announcements? I know we have an LCAP PAC meeting on the 19th. We're talking about math. And that will be a hybrid meeting, and we'll also have some new members appointed, whatever, to the PAC. Bye, Scott. Love you. He'll be there anyway.
Scott's leaving, yay.
So somebody
Get him out of the way.
somebody else who will be the next Scott, raffling off Scott's position on the PAC, to raise money for food. I don't know. And then we have, I know, when is CAC? Is it on the Monday of that week?
Monday next week, the 18th.
The 18th. And do you have a topic that is?
I'm sorry, what is that?
Yes, so the CAC
Community Advisory Committee for Special Education.
Yes, we are meeting 6 p.m. on November 18th, and the topic for this month is mental health.
Cool, great. And I
Hey, Lily,
yeah.
can I ask, so I just want to clarify, I know you reached out with, we're communicating with LACO regarding some trainings. Did they get back to you? Just wanted to ask real quick.
Yes, I did hear back from Miriam, and I'll just connect with them again about sort of specifics of which days they're able to be there.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, thank you. I think that DLAC is on the same day as CAC this coming week, because everything has to get smushed in before Thanksgiving break. So that's the English Learners Advisory Committee, the District English Learners Advisory Committee. I don't know what else. I think that's all in my announcements box right now. And does anyone have public comment, or shall we close our meeting early today? Yes, Angie.
Hi, good afternoon. I wanted to follow up. I haven't heard from Angela. I submitted an application for a surrogate, but I haven't received a response. Can you provide her contact information for me, please?
Yes. And I know she's out today, but we can follow up. Or
Okay,
Brian
maybe
can
your
follow
email
up.
address, please.
Yeah.
When was it submitted?
Maybe 2 meetings ago.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Yeah, I'll follow up today.
Okay, thank you, Brian.
Yeah, I can also share with you, Brian, the whole list. I don't know how many folks are on your list. But do you have the spreadsheet? The receipt of information about surrogates spreadsheet?
Let me check just a second.
I'll reshare with you. Let me make sure. I think you are, yeah, you are on it on my people with access. So hopefully you can see it. It's from my USD account, but I can send that to you again if you need it.
Is it the same one as the training?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I have it.
Great. So we can just follow up and make sure that those folks have all made it to the volunteer room.
I will do that right now.
Thank you. Awesome. Okay. So if no one has any additional questions or public comment, thank you all so much for being here, and I will go ahead and adjourn our November meeting.
Thank you, Lily.
Thank you, Lily.
Good.
Thank you, Lily.
Lily.
Everyone have a great day. Bye. Take care.
Bye.